we are addressing a really interesting topic, especially as it relates to all size businesses. And it's the most critical one that faces most companies, and it's employee turnover. As business owners, when you can effectively reduce turnover, presuming you have a good product or service and all that stuff, but if you have really great people, you can scale your business so much faster.
The landscape of the workforce today, if they feel at any moment uncomfortable, they will quit.
Welcome to the Trustedpreneur podcast, the show that empowers entrepreneurs to make informed and impactful decisions. I'm David Ritchie, your expert in scaling businesses to 8 figures and beyond.
And I am Madeline Ritchie, your master leadership coach.
Today, we are addressing a really interesting topic, especially as it relates to all size businesses. And it's the most critical one that faces most companies, and it's employee turnover. So, Madeline, I want you to imagine you've just launched your dream business. It's been less than 30 days, and already you have 2 employees that resigned. Not a scenario most new businesses want to hear.
It's a nightmare.
But it's not that unusual.
No, apparently not. We just experienced it.
Well, not us personally.
Not us personally, but we just had somebody that we know that just opened and they already turn over 2 to 3 people.
So
that's impressive.
It is impressive. So today, what I'd like to do is leveraging the Madeline Ritchie framework, kind of provide a better understanding of what some of the root causes of that would be, some solutions, and some action items that our audience can take. Because as we know, as business owners, when you can effectively reduce turnover, presuming you have a good product or service and all that stuff, but if you have really great people, you can scale your business so much faster because they know.
Yes.
And so that's one of the secret sauces we've had is hiring really, really good people. And, so I'd like to start first, as I said, to talk about what are some of the potential root causes that may cause turnover in our scenario, yes, as a new business, but also it could be any business, any size, and really, for that matter, have been around for 10, 15, 20 years. This issue is a real issue, and it happens that we have to all the time be able to find solutions on employee retention.
And this issue is even more so now.
Why do you say that?
Because of the landscape of the workforce today. If they feel at any moment uncomfortable, they will quit. It is one of those things that is the craziest thing I've ever seen in my life in the years that I've been working, but that is the problem today. So you have to be super clear in what your hiring process is and looks like. Your job descriptions, it has to have such an alignment with the people that you interview, and don't get desperate, because I know that when it's a new business or that it's lacks thereof help, they will do whatever they have to. I've done it myself. Yep. Right. I mean, I've done it.
That wasn't, yes, I'm agreeing with you. I was just agreeing with the comment.
Yeah, no, but it's true. I mean, I remember when I was in corporate, sometimes, we hire and we deep inside, I know it wasn't the right decision, but we needed them so badly that we just made the offer because that was the best of the worst.
When I think in the hiring process, because I think anybody that's come from corporate probably has gone through that, it's when you're looking at their qualifications, you're seeing things that maybe aren't really there. Right? So I agree. A really good job description and understanding that a lack of a hiring process would be a definite root cause.
Absolutely. A lack of vision and being able to communicate to your employees how your vision aligns with theirs.
Take me down that one.
Well, if they don't have a vision of what the company what they should do and how their clients should be taken care of, it's like a compass, no different than a value system, right? And so it's going to take you down a path that they're not going to know what their role is. So they're going to have a lot of questions, right? So it is important to create that right off the bat, help them understand what is it that the company stands for, and you as an individual, right? As their boss. So definitely, lack of vision will create chaos, because then the employees do not know how to contribute to it.
Gotcha.
Make sense? Okay. Inaccurate onboarding and training. Oh my gosh. This one, super important, right? If they don't have the tools to be able to take care of your clients, how are they confidently going to do that, right?
Yeah.
So helping them understand and be real, intentional about that onboarding process, it's super crucial.
I totally agree. And that's a great point. And I think that it's interesting because in a business from scratch perspective, you probably don't have every process, every policy, everything written down, although you want to try to start getting that done. But maybe it's a franchise and it's a little bit more of an existing business. And I think where onboarding is interesting, you can have great material, poor trainer, same result.
Yeah.
You can have great student and team member, great trainer, but no evaluation in role play, that now you can still get to the same result of not good.
Absolutely. Especially, franchises, for example, they have a lot of scripts.
Yes.
And, everybody's going to have a different take on a script. And not everybody is as good as, acting, because scripting it's like acting, right? So you might want to look on their resume. Maybe they have some sort of a acting training when you're hiring somebody. I don't know.
Well, I think it's an interesting thing about scripting, right? Because way back in my past, I used to write scripts for sales. Yes. And we always said you can deviate once you know it, but you still need to let them become themselves within it. They still can go word for word, but that's practice. That's actually, you're absolutely
right. It's
right.
Role playing.
It's role playing, and it's saying, where's the right inflection? Where is it not? So you're absolutely right.
When to be quiet, when to not, Right.
Training is so critical, but I was thinking when you were saying that, there's that show where they always do a soft opening, right? Where it's the bar show. I can't think of the name right now.
The Bar Rescue?
Bar Rescue, right? And they always do this. They always do this initial soft opening just to see how they're going to adjust.
Oh yeah, that's the stress test.
And the stress test, right? Yeah. And so sometimes while you don't want to leverage your friends and family weekend, but that is a stress test, and you can really come out. And so your training, especially in these new businesses, you have to find when you can put enough things happening, phone ringing, people walking in, somebody asking a question, a lead comes in, or a lead comes in on the email. What do you do? How do you prioritize, right?
Yeah, so these things. That's a good visual, because that is true life experience, that does happen. And you have to be able to navigate that chaos.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So what are some other causes?
Another one that I have here is poor communication and feedback loops. I mean, poor communication can completely destroy anything, whether that is a potential client that was going to come in, right? An employee that communicated poorly because they didn't know what to communicate because nobody told them, right? So communication and regular feedback from all channels is very, very important. So those those will be the three. Lack of the four, right? A good job description that is exactly what, and you're not going to find 100% just so you know, that person that you're looking to. But if you can find somebody that's 80% of that, and the rest can be, you can train them.
Right.
The inadequate onboarding and training it's not an option. You must train your staff in order for them to feel empowered to do their job. That's just no negotiations there. And communication and feedback loops are also one that you can't forego in the process of a new business or current business.
Absolutely. So those are some great identifiers of root causes that if you're planning and when you're opening or you're even if in existing business, just taking a step back and assessing, these are things that you can look for and see if you're falling short on. And here's the thing, especially with any size business, but smaller startups, employees and team members generally know it's new for you too.
Yes.
So they're willing, as long as you're being open and honest and dialoguing, totally agree. I think you can assess these things. And I know I'm kind of coming into one of the solution, but it's an ongoing solution. You should always be assessing those 4 things that we just discussed.
You should always be assessing everything.
Right?
Everything.
So great identifying the root causes or some of the root causes. There may be others.
But these are the most important ones. Yeah.
What are some solutions that they can look at?
Boy, I got tons here for you. Just saying.
Okay, go.
Would you like me to?
I would love for you to share it with
me. So 1, creating a compelling vision. So that's an important solution, right? And I mean, we're laughing about it, but host a vision alignment workshop or, kind of a huddle for your employees so they understand what is it, where are they headed, right? And why. If they can buy into the vision, they will execute. There's just no doubt about it. So a takeaway from this particular one is share your vision, foster a sense of purpose and belonging in the workplace. So it's very important. Number 2, develop a comprehensive onboarding process. If you are not tied to a franchise, I still recommend that you do, because when we have processes in place, it's the law of leadership, processes. Everybody must have processes in place to be able to execute whatever vision there needs to be, right?
Can I add something to
Sure.
the onboarding process? And I think people don't consider the onboarding process as this part of it. The hiring process is part of the onboarding process. And it's understandable, but most people, when they're first starting out in business, when you first start interviewing, you don't ask the same questions to every candidate. You have to have a consistent process from the hiring through the onboarding, training, and developing program, because that's how you made a good, that's how you're going to be able to identify if there was differences within your hires.
Good point.
And I remember, and this is not to derail us, but I remember when I was first made a manager and I had to hire somebody, and I had all these different candidates coming in, and yes, I would ask questions about their resume, and then I would get off track about asking about things that were really important, like scenario questions, and behavioral questions, right? So yeah, you can have some individuality, but you still want to make sure you're asking consistent questions. Just like when you're doing your onboarding process, you need to be consistent on how you're delivering it to each employee.
Right. So again, if it's a business that is not a franchise and it's a new business, you must have an onboarding process that you have to create, right? If you have a franchise, if it is a franchise, franchises typically have an onboarding, good or bad or indifferent, they have one.
Oh,
so
yeah, I was just saying, it depends.
It really depends, but it is important to have one and execute as such and make that a practice every single day. Consistency and consistent approach in the role playing will deliver memorization, and all things will be great. So, like I said, design a structure one or adopt the one that is being given. The takeaway here is that effective onboarding boosts employee confidence and reduces early turnover. Foster open communication and regular feedback. As I said, solutions implement regular team meetings, one-on-one check-ins. I know you do that very well with all of our employees at BNN. So one-on-ones on a monthly basis, understanding what is it, where are they at? Very important. Makes them feel good too that you care, right? That you care what they have to say. And so it builds confidence in the job, in the workplace. And therefore, they're going to deliver the very best service for your clients. Foster open communication. One thing that I am just massive about is communication. Regular feedback from everybody, right? They want to hear from you. You want to hear from them. It's a collective effort.
Yeah. And if I may, I just want to add one thing to that. So in this scenario where we have a brand new business, one of the things that I have always done is when we bring on a new hire, I still do this to this day, but when we started, we did this, and is you talk about feedback, but initially when you bring on a brand new employee, you have to have in those first couple of days multiple check-in points that you're touching base with that employee, right? And then then you move to multiple times a day, then you move to maybe twice a day, and once before they start their shift, one after, and then ultimately daily, and then ultimately you can move weekly and then monthly. But the things that I always ask, and I still to this day, is what are you seeing? What are you hearing? What are you feeling? And then most importantly, even though I may not think there is anything, what do you see that we could change to be better? And when you do that, you create buy-in, like you were talking about in the feedback loop, but especially when it's very early on, it's got to be really frequent, and it's got to be purposeful.
Right. And also, the takeaway should be on this one, that not only good communication is a must, it creates trust, and it creates a resolution of issues before they even get there.
Right.
So yes, meeting with your employees one-on-one is important if you have the time, and if you don't make the time. I mean, because it is important. They're the ones in the trenches.
Right.
Right. So they're the ones that see and feel and all things. So we need to absolutely give them the respect of at least meet with them once a month. My favorite one, enhance emotional intelligence and leadership. So it is crucial for us leaders to develop emotional intelligence. There's just no ands and buts about it, right? And how we do that, again, is by being empathetic, active listening, listen to what they're saying, not just listen to react, listen to understand what they're saying, right? And so it improves so much more, help them have a voice. That's another one that it's great. And very important, self-awareness. If you create self-awareness by watching what's happening, again, body language and all things like that, and how you actually behave, it will be much better. It'll absolutely will create that environment of trust, that environment of I belong, I'm part of that mission.
Yeah, absolutely. It's part of the team building process, right?
Yes.
And so to me, that's the critical part of that, is making people feel like they are part of a team and that you care. And
it's proven that emotional intelligence does create employee retention.
Yep, totally agree.
Which in essence saves you money, right? And last but not least, recognize and reward contributions. Absolutely establish a a reward mechanism or recognition. And that could be, it doesn't have to be anything crazy, right? It could be a shout out in the morning, on their team meetings. It it could be a bonus if you like, or incentivize them. However, a gift card, just employee of the month. We used to get them when we were in corporate, remember? And it was morale booster, for oh, they really I really matter. I am heard. I'm seen. And what is it that we know that most people want? They want to be heard and they want to be seen, you know?
Absolutely.
And so coming from their boss is always good to the recognition. It's exciting.
Yeah. And I think what's even can catapult that feeling is, especially when there's separation between the owner and the manager role,
Mm-hmm.
manager telling the owner to give them a shout out. And that can be, one of the things I've done is, when we have, because we have managers in place, so I don't want to always be the one recognizing, because they need to feel that from their managers. But sometimes the best thing an owner can do is write a small card or a note to them. And first of all, the most powerful thing people always say is to see their name in writing, in print. And second is something that they don't normally think about getting. Getting an email saying great job is nice. Getting a card that said we appreciate you and the work that you're doing. And, and if it's about a particular interaction with a customer, loop that into it. So they really feel that they're being recognized, and it costs almost nothing to do that.
And it's intentional from your part.
It is, because you
right?
literally did something most people don't. And even a manager can do that. I was just saying, when you have separation, you don't always want the manager being the one. The owner
Right.
needs to recognize too, and then you just have to give them ways to do that. So those are some great solutions to address the root causes. And I just wanted to kind of give some of the actionable items that one can do. And one was, Madeline mentioned a really well-crafted vision statement, as well as, and I just have to throw this little part in there because I'm a big believer in statement of mission. So everybody actually understands, not only this is what we want to aspire to be, this is how we're going to get there. And
Right.
it gives them really established and setting of goals. Because I think when people have goals and outcomes that they want to achieve, and that they buy into because there's good communication, right? Then we have this really good way of reinforcing, and people want to do good. People inherently want to do a great job. I know sometimes we don't think that, but I truly do believe that. The second thing is, okay, you had the turnover. You really need to have a really good exit interview. And that exit interview needs to be one where you're not just finding out the surface.
Mm-hmm.
You have to find out deeply, because what happens a lot of times, and we didn't say this was a root cause because we didn't want to call any people out, but sometimes it's another employee that's causing the issue. And if you're losing a good employee because of an employee, you better nip that in the bud really, really quick. So you have to ask really specific questions and pointed questions, sometimes uncomfortable questions, because as a manager, it might be about you.
Yeah.
And you have to say it's a safe space. They've already given you their notice. Now it's a time, you may be able to save them if you want them. It may also be an opportunity for you to grow.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree. The exit interview, you have to go in extremely humble.
Yes.
You can't go in with an attitude because they're going to shut down. Right. And you really want to know, why are they leaving? It's only been 3 weeks. Are you kidding me?
Right. Well, but it helps you do the next thing, is be assessing and evaluating your hiring process. Is your job description right? Did you set the right expectations? Did you interview the candidates all the same? Did you ask the right questions to understand what their real skill sets are? Do you understand how they would handle certain environments, right? Because most people,
Their availability. Did you ask for their availability? Because oftentimes what ends up happening too is that they can't work certain hours and you're like, well what happened?
right.
Well, it's on you, buddy, because you didn't ask the question.
That's right. So really reevaluating your hire process. And honestly, you should always be assessing everything, as Madeline says, but really you need to assess everything about hiring and onboarding. And it doesn't have to wait till somebody quits.
Yeah. Hiring, onboarding, communication.
Yeah. And I think the last actionable item is, especially in smaller businesses, understanding the importance of building team, leveraging emotional intelligence techniques to really help you build and foster a team. Because the longer you have really good people, the quicker you will grow.
Yes.
Right?
So
if you're constantly
incredible.
training, you're never getting past a point. And
you're spending money.
And you're spending a lot of money. I mean, every employee costs thousands and thousands of dollars, not only from once they leave, the gap of efficiency and productivity that you lose, but also the time your other employees have to spend helping train somebody, picking up, and not doing 100% of what they were doing. So really assessing that is critical, and really fostering that and moving and fostering that really big team. Because when you have a great team, like I said, the team will work together, the team will build, and the team will hit your goals and surpass them because it's a fun place to work. Culture is so important. Back in the day, it was a different beast. And it wasn't because it was right. It was just a different beast. Now we know what fosters employee morale. We know what grows them. So it's really critical. So guys, these are just some quick action items that you can take. We recognize employee turnover is a significant challenge. It's the challenge in all businesses. And if we can learn how to make sure our environment is better, stronger, more nimble, we will conquer the employee turnover issue. So to me, this has been a great conversation, not only because the scenario truly happened to somebody we know, but also because it's happened to every one of buddy, whether you're in corporate today or you have a legacy business that you've been running for years, or you're just about to start. So we really appreciate you listening. We hope that you enjoyed this content. If you did, we hope that you'll subscribe and give us a like. If you know anybody that might be interested in this type of content, please refer us. It means the world to us. And lastly, this, as we said, was a real life example. We just don't use names and where they all are. But what we do want to do is offer you the opportunity to email us at questions@trustedpreneurs.com and ask us a question. We'll reply back to you. And it just might be one of our next episodes, because your challenges are what we want to help you solve. So until next time, thanks for listening.
Until next time.